All right, first and foremost, I want to say, call hello, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. That's all praises to the Most High God, in the name of His only begotten Son. And this is Sicarii Yajadiah right here. Go ahead.
This is Osmawak with Dallas Count.
This is Yahweh Saban, Yahweh Sab.
Con. And today what I want to go into is we have our, like I said before, we have our own personal scoffer. And this dude likes to scoff the channel. And he wrote a comment on here I've been meaning to get to for a while. I'm just been lazy as hell. So we're gonna go into it today because it's really kind of hilarious. Because like this is how you know. Hold up. Go ahead and give me this precept real fast. All right, read that real fast.
It's Book of Romans, chapter 3, verse 1. What advantage then hath the Jew?
Yeah, what advantage hath the Jew? What advantage have being an Israelite? Go ahead.
Or what profit is there of circumcision?
Go ahead.
Much every way.
Much every way.
Chiefly because that unto them were committed the oracles of God.
Unto who?
Unto them were committed the oracles of God.
The Jews, the Israelites, man. We were committed the oracles of God. This scriptures, this Bible, the understanding thereof is for the Israelites. This is why the Edomites come with these weird, wonky, no making no sense breakdowns. That's why they come with these, because it wasn't given to the Gentiles. That's why all the things they say don't make no sense. So let's look at this guy's comment. Go back to the comment up there. It's the second tab. Go ahead and read that.
It's the Polemogetic. All right. He says the speaker asked for a passage in Isaiah that speaks of salvation being for everyone. By everyone, assuming he means Israelites and non-Israelites. There are actually many. Here are a few.
Okay, it's basically saying there's many scriptures that talk about salvation for everybody in the book of Isaiah. You know the book where it says, "Well, shall cleave unto the house of Jacob, and they shall take them for servants and handmaids." You know that book where salvation is for everybody, where the gospel is that they will be slaves in the kingdom. That's that gospel, bro. So go ahead. Matter of fact, click that. Let me see what part he's talking about.
Passage in Isaiah where it says salvation for everybody, bro. Matter of fact, what's the gospel then? Give me Isaiah 60.
Exactly, bro. Hold on. Go ahead and pause it right there. You can go click that. Of course. What's the gospel? The gospel is that we will be saved. The Israelites will be saved. Give me that. Give me that Isaiah 61 real fast before we go any farther. Actually, no. Let's just keep it. Let's just keep it on point. Because I know I'm gonna get to it eventually. Go down. Let's see. It should be in there.
Back to the comment.
Yeah, back to the comment.
Let's see, where'd it go?
There it is.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead and read that first one.
All right, his first one, he put up Isaiah 11 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
And in that day, this is the New King James Version, and in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, who shall stand as a banner to the people, for the Gentiles shall seek him, and his resting place shall be glorious.
Okay, the Gentiles shall seek him, and his resting place shall be glorious. First of all, salvation is nowhere near in that verse, man. Where's the word salvation in that verse? Let's see what it actually means. Go to back to the Bible. Just type in Isaiah chapter 11. This is Isaiah 11. Let's see in context what that's talking about. Start at verse 6.
This is Isaiah chapter 11, verse 6.
Wait, read 10. Read that part in 10 real fast.
Verse 10. And in that day.
So, and in that day, in this time period. What's that time period? Read verse 6.
Verse 6. The wolf also shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid and the calf and the young lion and the fatling together, and a little child shall lead them. Verse 7. And the cow and the bear shall feed. Their young ones shall lie down together, and the lion shall eat straw like the ox.
Yeah, keep going.
And the suckling child shall play on the hole of the asp, and the weaned child shall put his hand on the cockatrice's den.
Now, how you see how these animals aren't attacking each other? You notice that in there? The animals aren't attacking each other. That's verse 9, right? No, go more. Go verse 9.
Verse 9.
Yeah.
They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain.
So it basically said these animals, or these beasts, shall not hurt nor destroy all my holy mountain. For what?
For the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the Lord.
Yeah, is that happened yet?
Nope.
No, the earth is not full of the knowledge of the Lord. Doubling down on this, not doubling down on that's not a time period that's now or has happened yet. Keep going.
As the waters cover the sea.
As the waters cover the sea. So what we see now, before we get to verse 10, it's talking about all these animals not attacking each other, or specifically not attacking his holy mountain, which is Israel. That's what you see in Isaiah chapter 2. Now let's see why it's saying all these animals are going to basically agree with each other. Go to Ezekiel, the 34th chapter. Just type in Ezekiel 34. Let's see what that's talking about. And start at verse 23.
Ezekiel 34 verse 23 says, "And I will set up one shepherd over them, and he shall feed them."
That's Christ. Go ahead.
Even my servant David.
Yeah, because David's been dead by now, so it's talking about somebody from the Davidic line. Go ahead.
He shall feed them, and he shall be their shepherd. And I, the Lord, will be their God, and my servant David a prince.
Wait, who's God?
I, the Lord, will be their God.
The Lord, or Yahweh, will be our God. That's possessive. So future tense, still our God. Go ahead.
And my servant David, a prince among them. I, the Lord, have spoken it. And I will make with them a covenant of peace, and will cause the evil beast to cease out of the land.
Cause the what?
The evil beast to cease out of the land.
Cause the evil beast to cease out of the land. Just keep that in mind. Cause the evil beast to cease out of the land. Go ahead.
And they shall dwell safely.
Who shall dwell safely? Israel. Go ahead.
They shall dwell safely in the wilderness, and sleep in the woods.
Go ahead.
And I will make them and the places round about them my hill a blessing. And I will cause the shower to come down in his season. There shall be showers of blessing.
We're going to get blessed. Go ahead.
And the tree of the field shall yield her fruit, and the earth shall yield her increase, and they shall be safe in their land.
We shall be what?
Safe in their land.
Has that happened yet? No, we're not safe in our land. So still, this is a prophecy that's going to be fulfilled. Go ahead.
And shall know that I am the Lord when I have broken the bands of their yoke.
Well, now, what does it mean to break the band of their yokes? That's freed from captivity. Go ahead.
And delivered them out of the hand of those that serve themselves of them.
Exactly. Now why? Go ahead.
And they shall no more be a prey to the heathen.
They shall what?
No more be a prey to the heathen.
This is talking about Israel no more being a prey to the heathen, or what?
Neither shall the beast of the land devour them.
Neither shall the what of the land devour them?
The beast.
The beast. That's the animals it's talking about in Isaiah chapter 11. That's the animals that won't hurt his holy mountain, Israel. Because we've been saved. That's the time period it's talking about in this. Keep going.
But they shall dwell safely.
Yeah.
And none shall make them afraid.
Nobody should make us afraid, because why? We'll be exalted above all the other hills. Keep going.
And I will raise up for them a plant of renown.
Yeah.
And they shall be no more consumed with hunger in the land.
Yeah.
Neither bear the shame of the heathen anymore.
Neither bear the shame of the heathen anymore. Everybody outside of Israel. Keep going.
Thus shall they know that I, Yahweh, their God.
Their what?
Their God.
Their God, specifically their God, the Israelites. Go ahead.
And with them. And that they, even the house of Israel.
Even the who?
House of Israel.
So that's who it's been talking about the whole time. Israel being saved from, first of all, Christ coming back, saving them from their enemies, freeing them from captivity. Now, at this point, we won't be a prey to the heathen anymore. That's what it's talking about in Isaiah chapter 11, verse 9. Wait, keep going.
The house of Israel are my people, saith the Lord God.
Showing you end times that, guess what? We're still the Lord's people, and He's still our God. And there's still a separation. Now go back, just hit the board, hit back. No, go back, go right here. Hit back right here. Back to chapter 11. Read verse 9.
Isaiah chapter 11, verse 9. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain.
So that's them beasts. The heathen will not destroy in all of his holy mountain. Has that happened yet? No, that's not happening yet. Christ hasn't come back yet. We're still in captivity. Even if you want to play that game, we're not in our land. That's talking about us being in our land, being saved from our enemies. Dummy, keep going.
For the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the Lord.
Is the earth full of the knowledge of the Lord? No. And let me show you why. Let's show you the time period of when that's going to happen. Go up. Now type in Isaiah chapter 2 and start at verse 2.
It's the book of Isaiah chapter 2, verse 2. And it shall come to pass in the last days.
In the last days, yeah.
That the mountain of the Lord's house.
The mountain, talking about the hills, like, because our hills should be exalted above everybody. There shall do no more hurt in my hill. Go ahead.
shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills.
Exalted above the other hills, the other nations. Because if you look biblically, governments of nations are symbolized as hills or mountains. Go ahead.
And all nations shall flow unto it.
All the nations shall flow into it. That's what people don't understand. We're not the type of Hebrew Israelites who say heathen aren't going to be in the kingdom. Our house is going to be a house of prayer, like it says in Isaiah 56, for all people. We know that. We're not running from that. But salvation is specifically for Israel because he's our God, and Christ died for us to redeem us to be part of the adoption. Keep going.
Verse 3, and many people shall go and say, come ye, and let us go up to the
Many
mountain.
people or many nations. Go ahead.
And let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways.
He shall teach us of his ways. See, they're learning. So, because guess what? That's when the world's going to be filled with the knowledge of God, when we're on top. That's how you know the people over there in Israel aren't the real people. That's how you know, right then and there, because you don't see that. Only thing that comes from Israel is homosexuality. In Tel Aviv, they got the biggest homosexual fest in the world.
God.
So is the world filled with the knowledge of God? No, but it's filled with the knowledge of homosexuality. Keep going.
And we will walk in his paths, for out of Zion shall go forth the law, and the Lord and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares.
Why will they do that? Keep going.
And their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation.
They shall not what?
Lift up sword against nation.
See how all the animals before in Isaiah chapter 11 weren't aggressively attacking each other, nor attacking the children of Israel. Why? Because nation shall not lift up sword against nation again, neither shall they learn war anymore. Keep going.
Neither shall they learn war anymore.
Yeah.
O house of Jacob, come ye, and let us walk in the light of... Oh, man.
I think you hit back again.
It's a lot.
Read that verse again.
Verse 6.
I think it's verse 5.
Verse 5. O house of Jacob, come ye, and let us walk in the house of the Lord.
And let us walk in the house of the walk in the light of the Lord. Walk in the light of the Lord.
Let us walk in the light of the Lord.
Walk in the light of the Lord. What is that? The law, statutes, commandments. Give me Proverbs 6 and 23. I'm just talking about Christian shenanigans, bro. You know, people don't understand namely Christians don't understand the order of prophecy. We know, like I said before, we know the house of the Lord is going to be a house of prayer for all people. We know that. But guess what? There has to be a captivity first, because there has to be a payment. There has to be a payment for what happened to the children of Israel. And the scriptures speak about that all through the prophets. Keep going. Well, go ahead and read that.
This is Proverbs chapter 6, verse 23. For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light, and reproofs of instruction are the way of life.
So the commandment is a lamp, and the whole law is light. That's the light that we need to walk in. That's the light we are going to bear. That's being a light. This is being a light to the Gentiles. At this time period, everybody wants to talk about, we got to be a light to the Gentiles. Bro, how are we going to be a light to the Gentiles if 90% of Israel is on foolishness? Now go back to verse Isaiah chapter 11. I think all you got to do is hit back. And read verse 9.
Isaiah 11 and 9. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the Lord.
Because we're going to be exalted above everybody, and nations shall not learn war anymore. Go ahead.
As the waters cover the sea. And in that day,
when we are in rulership, go ahead.
There shall be a stem, and there shall be a root of Jesse.
A root of Jesse. That's talking about Christ. Again, he's supposed to be a prince among us, and he shall be that shepherd over us. He's going to be king over us. He is the king of the Jews. So in that day, when we're in rulership, go ahead.
Which shall stand for an ensign of the people.
Yeah.
To it, the Gentiles seek.
The Gentiles shall seek. Just like how it said in Isaiah chapter 2. Because they're going to come and learn our ways. Go ahead.
And his rest shall be glorious.
And his rest shall be glorious. Because what is he called? What is he called? Shiloh.
God.
That's pretty much it on Isaiah 11, though. But go back to his next verse. We will hit these point for point. Go back to his other verse on the other tab. The second tab.
Second tab.
There you go.
All right. His second one was he put up Isaiah 49 and 6.
Christians go to.
He says, indeed, he says, it is too small a thing that you should be my servant to raise up the tribes of Jacob and to restore the preserved ones of Israel.
Yeah. You see how it's still Israel? It's the whole thing is still Israel. Go ahead.
I will also give you as a light to the Gentiles.
He should do what?
Give you as a light to the Gentiles.
Yeah.
That you should be my salvation to the ends of the earth.
Okay, now go to verse. Actually, bring that up in the Bible Gateway. Bring his verse up. Isaiah 59. Is it 49? 49 and 6.
Yeah, 49.
Give 49. Let's get Isaiah 49. Let's see. Now read it in that. I'm not trying to read in the New King James.
Yeah, this is Isaiah 49 and 6 in the King James Version. And he said, it is a light thing that thou shouldest be my servant to raise up the tribes of Jacob and to restore the preserved of Israel. I will also give thee for a light to the Gentiles, that thou mayest be my salvation unto the end of the earth.
Now, what Christians don't understand, and I know they're going to hate this is naming different things. Everything it just named right there are different things, like a list. Now read it again, read it slowly, and I'll show you.
And he said, it is a light thing that thou shouldest be my servant.
Now, who are the servants? The prophets. So it's a light thing for you to be a prophet. Yeah, keep going.
To raise up the tribes of Jacob and to restore the preserved.
And to restore the preserved of Israel. Keep going.
I will also give thee for a light to the Gentiles.
I will also. So let's give you another thing. Also give you a light to the Gentiles. Go ahead.
That thou mayest be my salvation unto the end of the earth.
Next thing is that so thou mayest be my salvation to the end of the earth, right? So let's look at this. When you look at salvation to the end of the earth, it's talking about Israel. When you're talking about light to the Gentiles, it's talking about a future time when we are in rulership, and we're going to prove it. Because we know these are different things it's naming off. It's naming off a list. It's not literally saying salvation for the Gentiles. Because if you look at what being a light to the Gentile is, go to Isaiah 60. Let's see what being a light to the Gentile is. If salvation is for everybody. Just start at 1.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 1. Arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth.
Darkness shall cover the earth. Why? Because everybody's going to come to us to seek wisdom. Go ahead.
And gross darkness the people. But the Lord shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. And the Gentiles shall come to thy light.
The Gentiles shall come to thy light, just like how it said in Isaiah chapter 2. Go ahead.
And kings to the brightness of thy rising. Lift up thine eyes round about, and see, all they gather themselves together, they shall come to thee. Thy son shall come from afar, and thy daughter shall be nursed at thy side.
Telling you what time period it is. That hasn't happened yet. That hasn't happened yet. So literally, I think this in another verse is specifically talking about being a light to the Gentiles. These are all future prophecies. People say, oh, just like how you have the coons of our people in the Israelite community. Oh, we got to be a light to the Gentiles. That's in the future. That's when we're exalted. That's evidently been proven. Now jump to verse 10. Let's see if this is for everybody.
And verse 10, and the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls.
The sons of strangers shall build up thy walls. Now, where is salvation for everybody? Salvation, if you even look at the Hebrew and the Greek, is going into being rescued from a perilous situation. So how is because somebody building up the walls of Israel is a very perilous and terrible situation to have to do. Now, it's saying the sons of strangers, read that.
And the sons of strangers.
So this is all being, keep going.
Shall build up thy walls, and their king shall minister unto thee.
Yeah.
For in my wrath I smote thee.
And in his wrath he smote us, because we transgressed his law, statutes, and commandments. Therefore he put us in captivity.
But in my favor have I had mercy on thee.
Going into grace about how we're going to get the kingdom. So when we get the kingdom, which is really the rulership, once we get the rulership and dominion of the earth, guess what? The sons of strangers shall build up thy walls. So this is all part of, this is literally the chapter explaining what being a light to the Gentile is. So if being a light to the Gentile is salvation for everybody, why don't we see that here? Why do we see an ethnic hierarchy in being a light to the Gentile in the context of lights being shown to the Gentile? Why do we see that? Because it's not for, the salvation isn't for you. It's for the children of Israel. Keep going.
Therefore thy gates shall be open continually. They shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles.
That's all their wealth.
Right.
That's going to happen in the kingdom, in our rulership and dominion. They're going to bring all the forces of the Gentiles to us. Go hit a new tab. Go to that same verse in the blue letter. It's right here. It's right here. You can just click it.
So that was Isaiah 60 and
yeah, it's Isaiah 60 and 10. Let's see what the forces of the Gentiles is. If salvation is for everybody. And why don't we see this why don't we see this happening for everybody? Why don't we just see the sons of the strangers if it's for everybody then? That doesn't make any sense. Now click that where it says the gates shall be open continually. Click the forces of the Gentiles. Click this Hebrew word. See what that is. Let's see what that says. Their strength, their might, efficiency, and wealth, and army. They're going to bring that to Israel. Their wealth, their strength. What's the strength of America? Its financial system. That's going to be given. That's going to be given to Israel by the sons of the strangers. So how then is light to the Gentiles mean salvation for everybody? It's not. Contextually, it's not. You can't come to that conclusion if this is what it's saying. Go back. Now go back to Bible Gateway. Keep going.
All right, let's see. We were verse 12. Verse 12. For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish.
The what?
The nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish.
So you're still serving us. You're still serving us, bro. This is being a light to the Gentile. We can't be any more in context to what being a light to the Gentile is. That's you coming and learning of our God, but beforehand, you're gonna serve us, and you're gonna bring us all your gold, all your silver, all your anything that you have, you're gonna give to us. And then, after you've done all that and you've served us, you are going to worship our God. That's what being a light to the Gentiles is. So how then are you going to try to misconstrue Isaiah chapter 49 verse 6 to say that means salvation for everybody? That's how you know it's talking about a list, because if being a light to the Gentiles and salvations to the end of the earth means that light of the Gentiles means they're going to be saved, that doesn't work with Isaiah chapter 60. Hell, that doesn't work with the gospel. Get Isaiah 61. Let's read the gospel. Before you get that, go to the blue letter. Get us Acts chapter 1, verse 6. I think it's either 6 or 8. Let me see. 6. You should receive. Yeah. Click that. Go into the Greek. Read the verse and then click kingdom.
All right. It says Acts chapter 1, verse 6. When they therefore were come together, they asked of him, saying, Lord, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom of Israel?
Restore again the kingdom of Israel, right? Now, why is Peter saying that if it's for everybody? Now, let's see what the word kingdom means. Go ahead, right there. Read the first one. Just read the first one.
All right. It says a royal power, kingship,
yeah,
dominion, rule.
Now, dominion and rule. Now, click that word dominion. Actually, open up a new tab. Let's see what the word dominion means. Just like Google the word dominion. Okay. Just type in dominion. Let's see what we get. Let's see what that's talking about, because that's going to be restored again to Israel. Let's see what that means. I think you got to type in dominion definition. That's an energy company?
All right,
read it.
A sovereignty or council.
That's not council. That's control.
Control.
Sovereignty or control. So guess what? When is the sovereignty and control going to be given to Israel? Or the rulership going to be given to Israel? That's also another synonym when you look at the word ballista. I think it's ballista. Go back to that word. Ballistia?
Strong's G 932. Basileia.
Read the first one again.
It says royal power, kingship, dominion, rule.
Kingship, rule. That's basically talking about us ruling, having authority over a kingdom, man. Now go back to Isaiah 61. Let's go into the gospel, bro.
It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 61 from the top. The Spirit of the Lord God is upon me, because the Lord hath appointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. Mm-hmm. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound.
Now, good tidings basically is the same thing as the gospel. Matter of fact, let's prove that. Go to the blue letter. Luke chapter 4. Luke chapter 4. Let's prove that, because I know there's going to be a Christian in the comment section. Good tidings doesn't mean the gospel. Okay, that's the point. Now go back up to 16 and read into it. And read into 18. That's what I wanted.
All right, Luke chapter 4, verse 16. And he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up. And as his custom was, he went into the synagogue on the Sabbath day and stood up for to read.
So that's Christ, right? Christ is in the synagogue, and he stood up to read, which was his custom. Because you have somebody in the comment section, we're teaching a different gospel than Christ. We're teaching a different gospel of Christ. Because we say the Israelites are going to be in rulership. Because we say, guess what? Not only is the Israelites going to be in rulership, we're going to be rule of the earth. And guess what? Y'all are going to be our slaves. Now let's see if Christ is teaching a different gospel. Go ahead.
Verse 17. And there was delivered unto him the book of the prophet Isaiah.
Isaiah, which is Isaiah. Keep going.
And when he had opened the book, he found the place where it was written.
Isaiah 61 is going to prove it.
The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he hath anointed me to preach the gospel.
To preach the what?
The gospel.
To preach the what?
The gospel.
To who?
To the poor.
Yeah.
He hath sent me to heal the brokenhearted.
Yeah.
To preach deliverance to the captives.
Deliverance to the captives, the slaves.
And recovering of sight to the blind. To set at liberty them that are bruised.
Okay, so we know Isaiah 61 is the gospel. Now let's read Isaiah 61, the whole thing.
Isaiah 61 from the top. The Spirit of the Lord God is upon me, because he hath anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. He hath sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound.
Because you have a Christian say that's everybody. We go ahead.
To proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord.
Acceptable year of the Lord, because salvation for us.
And the day of vengeance of our God.
The vengeance of our God upon our enemies. Go ahead.
To comfort all that mourn.
Yeah.
To appoint unto them that mourn in Zion.
And who?
In Zion.
Israel. So the gospel is for who? Israel. To appoint unto them. It specifically says them that mourn in Zion. Go ahead.
To give unto them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called trees of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he might be glorified. And they shall build the old waste. They shall raise up the former desolations.
And we're going to build the old waste and raise up the former desolations. How's that going to happen? With the sons of stranger building up our walls, like I said in the chapter 4 in Isaiah 60. Go ahead.
And they shall repair the waste cities, the desolations of many generations.
Yeah.
And strangers shall stand and feed your flock.
The strangers, the sons of the stranger, the aliens. Go ahead.
And the sons of the alien shall be your plowmen.
So everybody outside of Israel shall stand and feed our flocks and be our plowmen and our vine dressers. Go ahead.
And your vine dressers.
Yeah.
But you shall be named the priest.
But what?
But you shall be named the priests of the Lord.
We shall be named the priests of the Lord. Israel. Go ahead.
Men shall call you the ministers of our God.
Yeah.
You shall eat the riches of the Gentiles.
Now, okay, let's sit back for a whole second. It says we shall eat the riches of the Gentiles. Now, what is that? If salvation is for everybody, how are we eating the riches of the Gentiles? That's the forces of the Gentiles being brought to us, like I said in Isaiah chapter 60. Go ahead.
And in their glory shall you boast yourselves. For your shame you shall have double.
Now jump to verse 9.
Verse 9. And their seed shall be known among the Gentiles.
Israel will be acknowledged among the heathen. Go ahead.
And their offspring among the people.
Yeah.
And all that seek them, all that see them shall acknowledge them.
Yeah.
That they are the seed which the Lord hath blessed.
That we are the seed which the Lord hath blessed. So if it's for everybody, why is this happening? If somebody, I want a Christian. I would love for a Christian to explain verse 9. What does that mean? If salvation is for everybody, why is it saying we, Israel, are the seed which the Lord hath blessed? That's how you know the Bible was given to us. Like, we can read this plainly and be like, this ain't for everybody. It's just you have to come to that conclusion, bro. Okay. You have to like, what other conclusion do you have? Well, it was for Israel first, then the Gentile. Okay, then what? That doesn't explain this then. It's so foolish, bro. It's so just asinine, man. Because that part of that salvation is the new covenant. Let me make that point. Go into the blue letter, get Hebrews chapter 8, and then go back in the Bible Gateway. Go back to the Bible Gateway, get Isaiah chapter 2. Right? Now go back into Hebrews 8. Now let's read about the new covenant.
Hebrews 8 and 8. For finding fault with them, he saith, Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah.
So the new covenant, already, even right there, it's already for the house of Israel, house of Judah. This is Hebrews. You can't get any more New Testament in Hebrews. Go ahead.
Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, because they continued not in my covenant.
Showing you what? That guess what? That's talking about full-blooded Israelites. Because I've heard Christians break this down as the house of Judah and the house of Israel. The house of Judah is the Jews over there in Israel. The house of Israel is the church. That doesn't work because it gives you the context. Verse 9 gives you the context of who it's talking about. Read it again. Read it again.
Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt.
Now, did that happen to the whole church? No. That's talking about a specific event. Because it's referencing the first covenant. That's why verse 7 says, for if that first covenant had been faultless, then should no place have been sought for the second. That's how you know it's talking about Israel. Because why would it mention the first covenant? Who was that made with? Dummies, bro. Go to verse 10.
Verse 10. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord. I will put my laws into their mind and will write them in their hearts.
Yeah.
And I will be to them a God, and they shall be to me a people. And they shall not teach every man his neighbor.
They shall what?
Not teach every man his neighbor.
They shall not teach every man his neighbor. Just remember this. I want this to stay in your head. They shall not teach every man his neighbor, or what?
And every man his brother, saying, Know the Lord.
Yeah.
For all shall know me.
For all shall know him, yeah.
From the least to the greatest.
Okay, Hebrews 9 verse 15. Keep that in your head. Just keep that in your head. They shall not teach every man his neighbor, because they're going to have the new covenant. Hebrews 9 verse 15.
Hebrews 9:15. And for this cause, he is the mediator.
Wait, read it again? Read it slowly. You're reading too fast.
And for this cause, he is the mediator of the New Testament.
Who is that he? Christ. Like I says in verse 14. Go ahead. And the New Testament, if you look at that word in the Greek, it's the same word as the New Covenant. It's the same exact thing. So for his cause, he is the mediator of the New Covenant or New Testament. Go ahead.
That by means of death, for the redemption of the transgressions that were under the first testament, they which are called might receive the promise of eternal inheritance.
And guess what? That's a kingdom, and that's a rulership, and the promises of Abraham being fulfilled. So Christ died. He's the mediator for the New Testament by means of death. So it's dying for the people who's going to be part of this new covenant, right? Now, part of the new covenant means you don't have to be taught anything because you're going to know everything. Now, go to Isaiah chapter 2, verse 2.
Isaiah 2:2. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of that Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains.
Just jump to 3.
Verse 3. And many people shall go and say, Come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways.
He shall do what?
Teach us of his ways.
Now, why are these Gentiles, if they're going to get saved and they're part of the new covenant, and everybody can be part of the new covenant, why are they going to the Lord's house to be taught if they're part of the new covenant, or that they can be saved, or that the promises are for them? That's a dagger. That's an absolute dagger, bro. That doesn't harmonize with the scriptures. You see how cold that is?
Yeah, that's cold.
Because if this is a part, because look, to have access to the new covenant, it comes through Christ's death, because he's the mediator.
Okay.
So that means Christ died for you to be a part of the new covenant. You obviously don't have the new covenant if you have to be taught. So guess what? That means Christ didn't die for you. That means Christ's death isn't for you. So guess what? Salvation isn't for everybody.
That's right.
Acts chapter 4 verse 12. Because if Christ's death isn't for you, that's the only Acts chapter 4 verse 12. There's not going to be salvation through anybody else. It's only through Christ. So go ahead and read that.
Acts chapter 4 verse 12.
Yeah.
Neither is there salvation in any other.
Yeah.
For there is none other name under heaven given among men whereby we must be saved.
So if if the heathens are going to have the new covenant, and they're not going to be they're not going to be part of the mediation into the New Testament or a new covenant, that means Christ didn't die for them. So guess what? If Christ didn't die for them, there's no other name that they will be saved by. So guess what? Salvation isn't for everybody. Okay. You see how cold the scriptures are? You see how all you have to do is just read it? You see how I didn't have to have a breakdown? If you just follow it logically, it doesn't make any sense that salvation is for everybody. So when you go back to Isaiah chapter 49 verse was that 49 verse 6?
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? You know what's even funnier?
What's that?
Yeah, bringing the context. You know what's even funnier? Christians spend all day saying we're twisting scripture and pulling it out of context. But all the scriptures he brought are out of context. Even with the first one, we already proved that. So Christians accuse us. Christians are the biggest hypocrites on the planet. You accuse us of doing the same thing that y'all really make a profession out of.
Who was the guy on Genesis 49ers? You know his name?
Jeshu. Yeah, well, I met him.
He was like, man, these guys are the masters of omission.
Masters of omission. I'm gonna hold that as a title. Masters of omission. But yeah, read verse 6 again.
Isaiah 49 verse 6. And he said, it is a light thing that thou shouldest be my servant to raise up the tribes of Jacob and to restore the preserved of Israel. I will also give thee for a light to the Gentiles, that thou mayest be my salvation unto the end of the earth.
Now, we've already proved salvation isn't for everybody. We already proved what a light to the Gentiles is. They're separate. All these things in here are separate. They're going down a list. We showed a light to the Gentiles is them, first of all, bringing all their things, serving us, and then serving our God. That has nothing to do with salvation for everybody. So when you get to where it says that thou mayest, that's talking about Isaiah anyway, but in reference to Jacob. But really, it says that thou may be a salvation unto the end of the earth. That's not saying a light to the Gentiles means everybody's going to be saved. That's not what it says. You can't come to that conclusion. You literally can't. Now go into his last verse, man. This is high level shenanigans that these Christians do.
Let's see.
Read his comment. Read his comment, because I already went through Isaiah 60.
His comment. These are just a few. You can't deny that the Gentiles will be recipients of the salvation extended through the root of Jesse.
Yes, I can, because I just proved it. Go ahead.
The Redeemer. Actually, Isaiah is a bad book to refer to as far as a future restoration.
Okay, yeah, it's a bad book to refer to as future restoration of Israel, right? This Isaiah 62 verse 11. Isaiah 62 verse 11. It's like when you just like being a Christian. Being a Christian is almost like being a Cowboys fan, because you have to just wake up every day and lie to yourself, man. Yeah, it's our year. It's our year. We're gonna do it, man. It's our year. We're going to the Super Bowl. Knowing damn well you gonna go 8-8. Knowing damn well you gonna go 7-9. Knowing damn well, bro. You know the Eagles is gonna take the division. So the thing about it is that's what Christians do. You have to wake up just lying your ass off, bro. Being the masters of omission. Now read verse 11.
Isaiah, what was this? 62 verse 11.
Yeah.
Behold, the Lord hath proclaimed unto the end of the world.
Yeah.
Say ye to the daughter of Zion, behold, thy salvation cometh.
You see how that's Israel? Let's see that thy salvation cometh. Go ahead.
Behold, his reward is with him, and his work before him. And they shall call them the holy people, the redeemed of the Lord.
Yeah.
And thou shalt be called, sought out, a city not forsaken.
A city not forsaken. Guess what? That's us being restored. Read the first verse. Read the first verse of that chapter.
Isaiah 62 from the top. For Zion's sake will I not hold my peace, and for Jerusalem's sake I will not rest, until the righteousness thereof go forth as brightness, and the salvation thereof as a lamp that burneth.
Keep going.
And the Gentiles shall see thy righteousness, and all the kings.
They shall do what?
They shall see thy righteousness.
So they're going to see afar off us being saved. Keep going.
And all kings thy glory, and thou shalt be called by a new name, which the mouth of the Lord shall name.
Yeah.
Thou shalt also be a crown of glory in the hand of the Lord, and a royal diadem in the hand of thy God.
So that's us being restored. Literally us being restored. We already read the gospel. Go back to, click this right here. Click this. Go to Isaiah 61. Read this. What does verse 3 say?
Isaiah 61:3. To appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, to give unto them,
yeah.
beauty for ashes.
Beauty, instead of having ashes, we're getting beauty. So that's restoration. Go ahead.
The oil of joy for mourning.
Instead of mourning, we're gonna do what?
Yeah. The garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness.
You see, restoration. What are you talking about, bro? It's shenanigans. It's upper level, high level shenanigans, bro. Read that part that said the recipients of salvation.
All right. Let's see, where is he at? All right. I'm gonna start from the beginning. These are just a few. You can't deny that the Gentiles will be recipients of the salvation extended through the root of Jesse, the Redeemer.
The what?
The Redeemer.
Let's see go to Isaiah 49 again. The verse he pulled. 49. The Redeemer, right? Read the next verse after that one. Because he wanted 6. 6 is the one he pulled. Let's read the next verse.
Thus saith the Lord, the Redeemer of Israel, and his Holy One, to him whom man despiseth, to him whom the nation abhorreth, to a servant of rulers, kings shall see and arise, princes also shall worship, because of the Lord that is faithful, and the Holy One of Israel, and he shall choose thee.
He's going to choose everybody.
He shall choose thee.
He's going to choose us, man. That's what's going to happen. He's going to choose us. He's going to redeem us, the Israelites. It's not. Isaiah 59. Isaiah 59:19. This is amazing. You see how we're still in the book of Isaiah? You see how these cuts are coming from Isaiah? The way he said it's a bad book to go to the restoration. he said Israel's going to be done away with in the book of Isaiah. That's what happens when you just be doing drugs, man. So read.
That's what Christianity is. All right, verse 19.
Verse 20.
Verse 20. And the Redeemer shall come to Zion.
Read again.
And the Redeemer shall come to Zion.
Yeah.
And unto them that turn from transgression in Jacob,
yeah, go ahead,
saith the Lord. As for me, this is my covenant with them, saith the Lord.
With who?
This is my covenant with them.
With them, Zion, those who turn from transgression in Jacob. Go ahead.
Saith the Lord. My spirit that is upon thee, and my words which I have put in thy mouth, shall not depart out of thy mouth, nor out of the mouth of thy seed, nor out of the mouth of thy seed, saith the Lord, from henceforth and forever.
So the Redeemer is for Israel. And they'll say, oh, it's the New Testament. They'll say, the New Testament came, and that all changed. Romans 11, verse 26. Let's see if it changed. Let's see if it changed. Let's see if Paul came with some new knowledge. Because everybody wants to run to Romans chapter 11, the whole chapter of Romans 11. And they want to say they're going to be grafted in. So let's see. Here's the conclusion. Because Paul, what's one thing a lot of Christians don't understand. Paul, after he said his analogy or what he was talking about, he sums it up. So let's go to him summing up the grafting in process. Go ahead.
Romans 11:26. And so all Israel shall be saved.
So the grafting in process is happening. So all Israel shall be saved, like how it says in Isaiah chapter 59 and 45, how he saw all Israel justified. Keep going.
As it is written, there shall come out of Zion,
same thing.
The deliverer,
yeah,
and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob.
So it's the same thing in Isaiah. The deliverer. That's how you know the deliverer is Christ. That's why he says he's going to come to Zion. So he said it's going to come to the Gentiles, but the book says it's going to come to Zion. Even in the New Testament. Go ahead.
For this is my covenant unto them, when I will take away their sins.
Well, I'll take away their sins. That's pretty much it on that. Back to the Redeemer. The Galatians chapter 4, verse 4.
Masters of omission, man.
The Masters of omission, man. You misspelled Galatians. They got it anyway.
Okay, got it. All right, Galatians chapter 4, verse 4. And you said 14?
4.
But when the fullness of the time was come, God sent forth his son, made of a woman, made under the law, to redeem them that were under the law.
Yeah, to do what?
Redeem them that were under the law.
That's why it's talking about in Isaiah 59 and 20 and Romans 11 and 26 about those who turn from transgression in Jacob and in Zion, because he came to redeem them because they were under the law under the first covenant. That's why he's the mediator of the mediator of the new covenant. For means, give me Hebrews 9:15 again. I'm glad it's still up. Read that again.
Hebrews 9:15. And for this cause he is the mediator of the New Testament.
Yeah.
That by means of death, for the redemption of the transgressions that were under the first testament, they which are called might receive the promise of eternal inheritance.
And that's why he died for the people who were under the law, because they were under the first testament. That's why his death is for the redemption of those under the first testament.
Looking for a precept.
You see how the Bible works, man. You see how cohesive the scriptures are. You see how easy it is to just get the breakdown if you read the book. And read the hashtag read the book. Also hashtag come to camp.
Come to camp.
Go back to his shenanigans that he's doing. I think there's 2 verses left that he has on it.
Let's see. He put up. I'll finish it out. It says, actually, Isaiah is a bad book to refer to the future restoration of Israel because it speaks of the end of the nation altogether.
No. Jeremiah. It's not lose control. No, bro. You come on, bro. Let me get some commentary from y'all. So what do you think about that? What he just said there?
He's a master of omission, man. These Christians, bro, they whatever in the Bible doesn't fit their doctrine, they omit it, man.
That's what it is, man. Talk about it, just straight do away with Israel. First of all, and what makes you think he's gonna do away with Israel, bro? What are you looking for?
It was a precept that goes with Hebrews 9:15 talking about Israel is called. I was trying to figure it out. I got it though.
It's all right. You're Jeremiah 32. Is it 32 or 31? Where he said, I won't lose control. If I lose control of the ordinances,
This guy's a nut job with the Bible.
Jeremiah 31 and 35. Thus saith the Lord, which giveth the sun for a light by day, and the ordinances of the moon and of the stars for a light by night, which divideth the sea when the waves thereof roar. The Lord of hosts is his name. If those ordinances depart from before me, saith the Lord, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me forever.
So if the Most High just lose control of the dang stars, moon, and all that stuff, then Israel will cease from being a nation. And you know he's never going to do that. He's the Ancient of Days. He's omnipotent and powerful and has power over everything. So that'll never happen. So guess what? Israel should never cease from being a nation. That's what Malachi chapter 3 verse 6 is really alluding to, so we don't be consumed, because that's why he's not going to change. Really, saying he's going to do away with Israel is saying the Lord changes.
Right.
Go ahead.
Let's see what he said. He was 22 to 28.
It's over the New Kingdom, bro.
All right. He says Hebrews 12 and 22. But ye are come you are come unto Mount Zion and unto the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem, and to an innumerable company of angels, to the general assembly and church of the firstborn.
Yeah, that's talking about the elect. Go ahead. Romans 8 and 29. Go ahead.
Which are written in heaven, and to God the judge of all, and to the spirits of just men made perfect, and to Jesus the mediator of the new covenant.
The thing that's not for them.
And to the blood of sprinkling.
The thing that's not sprinkled upon them.
That speaketh better things than that of Abel.
Okay.
See that you refuse not him that speaketh. For if they escape not who refused him.
I think that's as far as he wanted to go.
I think he
Where does that talk about them being saved? All the way to the end?
I guess.
Okay, keep going, I guess.
Alright. See that you refuse not him that speaketh. For if they escape not who refused him that spake on earth, much more shall not we escape if we turn away from him.
Jump to 28, man. He ain't.
They gotta put something.
Bro, he's gotta put something. He gotta put something down.
Verse 28. Wherefore we receiving a kingdom which cannot be moved. Yeah, Israel. Let us have grace whereby we may serve God acceptably with reverence and godly fear.
Now watch this, right? Go to your tab with the blue letter. Go to Daniel 2:44, man. That we receive a kingdom. That we receive the kingdom, right? Let's see what that we is. Go to 44. 44.
It says, and in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people.
No, who is the kingdom for? This is a reference to Israelites, man. Who is the kingdom for? So, with that own verse, bro. That doesn't. First of all, that didn't say salvation was for everybody, or that the kingdom was for y'all. But it said we shall have a kingdom, right? That we shall have the kingdom. Who is that we? That's talking about the people who's going to get this kingdom, and it shall not be left to other people. Shouldn't be left to other nations. And it's going to prove it. Watch, keep going.
But it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever.
Israel, exalted above all other hills. In Isaiah 60, the nation, the kingdom that shall not serve you shall perish, bro.
World without end.
But the saints, which is the Israelites of the Most High, shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever.
So people ask, like, who are the saints? You know why we don't have to have a precept to know who the saints were? If you look at the word saint, it literally means the set apart ones. Now, who are the set apart ones? Who's been set apart? Israel. Leviticus, please. Leviticus 20 and 26. Who are the set apart ones?
Tripping today.
Just put LEV.
Yeah.
And then 20.
26.
I think it's 20. It's 20 in verse 26.
All right, Leviticus 20 and 26.
Yeah.
And you shall be holy unto me.
What does word holy mean? Set apart.
For I, the Lord, am holy, and have severed you from other people, that you should be mine.
And that's the law talking to Israel. Just like how Deuteronomy 1 verse 1 says, Moses spake this in the midst of Israelites. To the Israelites. He's done. He's done. Go back to see if he's got anything left.
It's bloody.
See if he's got anything left, bro.
Let's see.
I hope he keeps commenting because this makes it really easy to make lessons.
I even want to bring up the book of Daniel.
That has nothing to do with it.
Isaiah 63:66 really zeroes in on the last days of Israel.
No, it doesn't.
The end spoken of by Daniel. Daniel chapter 12, verse 4.
Yeah, and it says, I like how he starts at verse 4, but when you start at verse 1 and verse 2, it talks about, and they shall awake some to everlasting life. And what is everlasting life? This is the kingdom. What are you talking about?
Finish.
It's finished, man.
What's this guy's name?
Polymagnetic, man.
Polymagnetic.
Let's lose it.
Yeah, man.
Go to his page again. Let me see what he got.
23 subscribers.
23 subs.
24. Okay, 24. Just one more than what I already said.
We're the least in the kingdom. The highest video he's got is 66 views. And the only reason he's got it is because he's name dropping Sicarii Dallas.
Oh, it looks pretty salty.
Yeah, man. I wish he'd come to camp, but I hope the Israel was edified. And with that, I want to say, call Allah Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, and say Shalom.
Shalom.